Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with a surprisingly good, well put together, interesting, inexpensive box of Rachmaninoff symphonies and concertos, right here on the Alto label. There's the Alto right on this side. You know, I've been doing a lot of Rachmaninoff lately, and actually, I got the weirdest email from somebody, a viewer, who said to me, I was watching this was when I did the Melodia Complete Rachmaninoff edition. I was just appalled and shocked and horrified and disgusted and nauseated, given Russia's hostilities in Ukraine, that you could possibly spend any time extolling the virtues of Russian music. And for that reason, I am so offended that my conscience and my sense of morality impels me to unsubscribe from your channel. Well, what was I supposed to do about that? I mean, you might as well say, well, as somebody who's Jewish, you're playing Bach's liturgical music, and Christianity was responsible for the death of hundreds of thousands of Jews throughout history. Therefore, I cannot listen to Western music. Any of it. I mean, this is madness. What's happening in the world today. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, of course, is madness. But reacting like that to it about Rachmaninoff, who was hardly responsible for this particular tragedy, is just as wacky. And, you know, one wackitude does not justify another wackitude in my particular philosophy. So anyway, the guy's gone. It's fine with me, and we can talk about Rachmaninoff. Now, this, like I said, is on Alto, which means it's mostly licensed material, although they have some very interesting stuff of their own, and we're going to get to that momentarily. There are 6 CDs, and you get all the piano concertos and the symphonies, as well as some other orchestral works. And it's just really good stuff. So let's see what we have. Symphony number 1 and the Isle of the Dead. Now, the performances of Symphonies 1 and 3 and the Isle of the Dead and the symphonic dances all feature the Moscow Symphony, the Moscow State Symphony Orchestra, who knows, whatever that is, under Pavel Kogan. It's the Pavel Kogan Moscow cycle. And these were all available separately. And I have them here. Here they are, separately. And, you know, they're really good performances. They're a little bit studio bound. They were recorded actually by supposedly Mark Obort and Joanna Nikrens. I mean, that famous team of producers, elite recordings. But they were actually done in Moscow and in a studio, and they sound a little bit boxy as a result, but otherwise quite good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the sonics, and the performances are just remarkably exciting. They're real Russian, red-blooded, exciting performances. Very, very good. So we don't have to worry about that. So we've got the Isle of the Dead, and we've got this thing, Symphony number 1, which is really quite splendid. The only problem with it is that toward the very, very, very end, it looks the good old tam-tamist kind of, poops out a little bit, and there's last whack. And I really think that last whack should be the wackiest of all the whacks, but that's okay. It's really, really well done. And the recording's a little low level. Now, for number 2, they did not use this cycle, this Pavel Kogan cycle. They used Rozhdestvensky and the London Symphony. You know, the one that used to be on what was that label? You know what it was. It was licensed from the LSO, and it was issued on IMP or ICP or PSI or, I don't know, something like that. And I really like this performance, but I remember it was the first one I heard where someone took the exposition repeat in the first movement. I didn't even know there was an exposition repeat in the first movement, but there is. And that stretches it out to 24 minutes. Oh, my God. But otherwise, it's the whole thing. And it doesn't really dawdle all that much. Rozhdestvensky, as you know, could be quite slow and heavy. But he isn't here. He really isn't. It's all within the character of the work. It's a splendid performance. It really is. And then there's Kogan again for the symphonic dances in the third. The symphonic dances are really exciting. My goodness, he just tears into them. It's wonderful. And then we have, let's see, other symphonies and concertos. Well, you get the Bells, the Youth Symphony, and the Paganini Rhapsody. Now, the Bells is the Slatkin St. Louis performance that was on Fox, which is very, very good, but it's in English. I mean, you're not going to hear no. You're going to hear listen. It always alarms me when I hear it because I'm so used to the Russian. But it's a very good performance. You get that Youth Symphony, that single movement in D minor, and the Paganini Rhapsodies with Abby Simon, which is an excellent version, by the way. And then we've got, let's see, Piano Concertos numbers 1 and 3 with preludes in C-sharp minor and E-flat major. This is the Mercury Living Presence recording with Byron Janis, with Kirill Kondrashin in number 1 and Antal Dorati in number 3 with the Moscow Philharmonic and the London Symphony, respectively. I mean, it's wonderful that they were able to license them. They're terrific performances. Absolutely first rate. So that's great. And then you've got Concerto number 2 with Richter and Wyslotsky. You know, the good Richter, Rachmaninoff 2. Really very, very fine performance. And number 4 is the Michelangeli. You know, that classic, Michelangeli reference recording of number 4. So add it all up, and you've got a really, really first-class box of Rachmaninoff symphonies and concertos. You know, you'd be hard-pressed to find one that's really more consistently fine or that's better on any label. Let me not hide the Alto. It's on Alto, and it's cheap, and it's definitely worth hearing. So if you're buzzing around, or if you want to just sample the Pavel Kogan symphony cycle, you can do that, you know, separately. But boy, this was good. There we go. I was really, really happy to hear this and see it come in. It's wonderful, and I'm happy to tell you about it. Despite the current international situation, I still think that, you know, great music is great music, and we have a right to listen to whatever we want to listen to. It's really that simple. And so there you go. Keep on listening, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. Take care.